It's just too heathen what's taken place in my life. I've had people, including family members and fake friends and ties, and even my personal love life, to perform this crime against me. They stole my information, they hacked me to hijack my reality, then stole my identity without my even knowing it, and my knowledge of it, and where it was coming from. Ever since I was a young child, these same syndicates of people have been working to replace my life and to take me out, to kill me, or rob me of my own organic life. So they've been performing over my life in a way that's not just inside my life, but over my life. It was no accident on their part, rather a setup. They legitimately want to create these smear campaign channels, unable to use their own faces and images and tell their own story. That's what it means to have it be to work over your life, to where it's to take away your availability of getting out there and doing anything for yourself at all. Their goal is to completely hack you away and say, see, look at who he is, in their fake made puppet channel. But this isn't an accident, it's a setup, a full lifelong play where I was never allowed to see the script, just cast as their victim. So when these things happened, they replaced my regular life, and I just became that target, their target, all covertly, first by a few narcissists until they reach others, and the narcissism multiplies. And suddenly, it's a whole group of narcissistic abuse laid all over your life, to campaign against you, to abuse you, to slander you, and to erase you as though you never existed at all. And you don't even get to see it for what it is, because you've been being poisoned up the entire time. But nevertheless, your life and abilities aren't even your own now, right? In fact, they never were your own. They start to predetermine your direction, your whole name, and your whole narrative as if to ghostwrite your whole efforts into anything else other than what it is. All acting behind the scenes of your life, they act as though they have the right to define you. And this evil isn't only human anymore. Rather, this type of evil is completely heathen. It's a demonic possession. And they have collected the spirits of the very demonic and turned that performance into an enterprise of an identity theft of ritual abuse and proxy warfare. They aren't only stealing away your name and the state that allows you to, the name that the state allows you to have, but the identity erasure tactics that are being used here are to steal the identity and integrity of the one that's God given. This is called spirit cooking, where your whole wherewithal to figure it out is being lopped inside of a war zone that you can't even see. All covert psychologically being played into a battle of this type of war zone, where they literally twist up your own mind into that battlefield, and it's been non-stop abuse since I was a baby boy, targeting me, and it's not okay. In fact, it's never going to be okay. But out here, being left in the warfare, isolated, gaslighted, and alone, it feels like nothing's real anymore. No systems of support, no child protection services actually did anything to protect me as a kid. No official of law, no FBI or Attorney General's office, no branch of government for that matter, or congressman or woman. No support that feels real, like a so-called support system that you're reaching out to for help. But yet you reach out, you make calls, fire out tens of thousands of emails even, to create fund campaigns, petitions, and your accounts get hacked. While your name is hijacked, the world around you tells you there's help for victims. But when you reach out for that help, there's no one listening, no one reading, no one even considering a secure line of help at all. On top of that, nobody believes you, so you're just left to continue to go through a very real calculated battle, alone, isolated, gang stalked, while these same people continue their performance all over your life, treating you as if you're their property, as someone who couldn't be anywhere else, doing anything better with their lives other than facing a battle that's hidden in the agenda-driven hack all over your life and energy. Because that's what these people are. They're hacks. They don't care. They're heartless, gutless, spineless cowards. As if you're just supposed to be okay with being slave made for the grind and never allowed to even get a little bit of that money that you work so hard to get. No, not even your own jobs or home or cars or even the money to buy a dinner for yourself at times because they won't let you breathe. Literally, down to the cellular level. The design is intentional, a crime being hidden in the very tactical, played way right into your sights, going from the covert, hidden war to the very overt one, and they instead demonize their victim, labeling their targets as insane or whatever they want to, when it's all a projection of their very own cruel insanity that you've been left to have to live for far too long. So, of course, coming out of a long-standing poison by design is not only going to be hard to explain, but harder to articulate, especially right away. When you've been being poisoned up relentlessly, you can't do so much else but sound like you are literally going crazy to the natural public because you can't fit 43 years or all of them years that you've been living through this abuse inside of one little short clip for people to understand or yet have the attention spans that you need them to have because that's also under attack. When your body has literally been working against you and you couldn't even figure out the cause for a long time and for so long, and suddenly you get away from those who would abuse you like this. You call back your energy for months on end, and then they want to demonize you further. You can finally recall all the points and places where you could start to remember and have clarity, where every single time that clarity came back to you, it just took out everything of you to be able to trust, to be able to suddenly be lost again, unable to obtain your own mind, because each and every single time that they came around to steal your clarity away, it's been that long-standing poisoning that you're left hard-pressed to explain. It's been so calculated and covert as to never let anyone outside of their syndicate gain knowledge as to anything happening at all, like their own families, their own children, their own communities. And it's so subtle and covert and so tactical methods that they use of coercive control that it turns into coercive violence. So before long, you are back to reaching for their help. The same abusers, the same ones that would be poisoning you, psychologically manipulating your reality, setting themselves up to be the only ones that you have to rely on. And in your own mind, you don't even see what's missing, mainly because you can't. Not because you wouldn't, but you can't. You can't see that you are missing anything at all, as if it's all your own self of an organic mind that you're missing. But how harsh is that? You're missing something that's deeply missing, based on that clarity being gone by poisoning. But you can't tell. Your sense of self has been predetermined by their warfare all over your life. Your sense of self is missing. You can't tell that either. And until I wanted to get away, I could slowly but repetitiously start to see the patterns of where and when exactly I would lose myself, to getting tiny pieces of that clarity back and still unable to see what it was that was happening until I called all of my autonomy back, all of my energy, and to see it all, every last place, and every part of my life for exactly what it was happening to me. And just then, the acts of coercive violence came on harder and stronger to take me out. And just when you began to think of a way out, or to get away and be left alone, like now, they can't even leave you alone. They have to create these smear campaigns. They have to slander you. They have to lead you into a place that is even further hard pressed than all of the areas of your whole life long crime against you. They've had no problem leaving me alone before, especially where I was already eroding and caving in on myself. But then, their attacks only came that much harder, more methodical, more strategic. Its design was to ensure that I was lost, and it's exactly what that covert poisoning did. It had me questioning my reality, while they just kept ghostwriting my story all out behind the scenes and behind a mask, working to steal every last place that I could put my energy into. My jobs or work life, determined. My online accounts, determined. My outreach for support, determined. Or even made with the intent to aid in their abuse by making proxy ties to also determine my friends, my love life, and even manipulated family. This took most of my life away from me, not just my time, not just the availability to myself to articulate it, but to my ability to fight back. This wasn't just an identity theft. It was a design meant to murder me, and murder me in such a way that they could go on living me. To take me out before I ever even had the ability to speak out about it at all. But even almost then taking my life on multiple attempts and multiple accounts of them having these death threats all over my life, throughout all of my life, I can now see it for exactly what it was. And either way, it was a spiritual murder of me in all that I could have ever been this far or get to be. It's murdered me of my own availability to see myself for my own self anymore. What I could have become, or what I could have even tried to become to save myself, as though there's no telling how I could have been living my life today. But I didn't ask for this. They just went on and did this to me. I didn't do anything to deserve it, besides being born. And that's literally my crime, just being born. And you can't fight something that you can't see. And you can't heal very well from something real that they can't admit to, because you're talking about murder here. That's how it works. They create that slow, deliberate assassination of an invisible warfare, and just when you're seeing it, they deflect, they minimize it, they go ghost, they work up for the whole discard, and then they also work in the backgrounds of your life to slander you and your whole character, even knowing far well for themselves that you've never been allowed to have an original character of your own or an original life of your own. That's how this character assassination works well, where you yourself, nor even they, know who or what you could be today, but they don't care. They don't want to see you even alive, let alone see how you'd be able to live. But this is the way the perpetrators get to call your life, as though you're just being faced up with bad luck, or though you know for yourself for sure now that it takes much more than yourself alone to level you off inside of a mess that's this big. So I'm calling it exactly what it is. It's evil. And it's why I continue to speak out, because now that I've figured it all out, their aim is to ensure that I'm either homeless, in jail, institutionalized, or dead. So it's my evidence, my story, because my silence in being led into a warfare of this type, of homelessness, year in and year out, left me fighting to get out, fighting to get free, and not even have the time to speak out in places that I had really wanted to, or at least write down my thoughts, because I'd forget those thoughts. And then, same thing, you'd be going right back to the perpetrators like a Stockholm syndrome, going right back to those that would perform this crime over you. And after working 12 to 18-hour days, and even sometimes working full days straight, and even up to like 36 hours, you can hardly write. You can't even think through the situations that you wished you could have written on or spoken out about. So it's a way to steal and stall up your testimony that you're being gang stalked to these levels, and you're dealing with this non-touch torture campaign, that you can't even see them for who they are, or what they are, or where they are. So, of course, they didn't want me to speak out at all, or ever, not just now. But these crimes are real. They do happen in this way to real people, just like my story is telling about. And it's sad because they're completely morbid. They're in a state of sadist way. They are what is sadistic. And so that is what it means to be a sadist. And it's happened to me where I know my own worth is far greater than I am being allowed to live. So I refuse to stay silenced or allow my story to simply just be erased without my trying to get it out. When you have something that's to be spoken out about and not held in, but rather stopped in translation, to be able to even speak your mind at all, it's important that you get it out because you've been held back for far too long. So, yes, I had a friend who I thought was a friend at times, who was never a real friend. He was, however, a proxy friend specifically created for me, crafted to gain access to me and leave me in a whole mess of confusion in life, where I am not confused about at all anymore. Upon calling back my autonomy and my energy, and still almost ending up dead for doing so, this is the relationship between him and I, as was to perform such that of a threat over my whole friendship, over my whole life. Or behind the scenes of my life, it was to patternize that same web of design, to keep playing with my life, my love, my time and energy. I didn't even remember that back when I was 17, I wanted nothing to do with this man until I turned 42 or so, 42 and a half, I think it was, realizing that I haven't even realized that I wanted to get away from this man since I was 17 years old. That's many years of clearly being a victim of poisoning. So I couldn't see clearly, being the victim of a poisoning and a calculated assault on my intelligence through what was supposed to be my life, folding me up, throwing me into a box, and throwing me into that early grave. But now I can look back with the mind that's intact, and I can see it clearly, and I can speak out for a change. I can actually speak my thoughts. So that's why I'm out here speaking out so much. Because it's for exactly what it was. It was never about a friendship at all. Rather, it was a proxy tied to engage me in the state of the art of warfare, of a covert narcissism, sociopathy, psychopathy, and all playing all over my life, to clean me completely out of myself, to then surveil me and coercively control me, all wrapped up in the disguise of care and friendship. Here and there, they performed loyalty, while behind that loyalty lied a mask that was lying within a den of thievery, all calculated with poisoning me and positioning me for a digital intrusion, a hacking, the manufactured manipulation of my own will, drive, and sense of self. not to mention my own love life being aimed at nonstop. It was the real setup to erode my will, my character, and then, now that I can see it for what it is, they turn it back all on me to project their own evil intentions back around on me and make me the crazy maid as the covert malignant narcissists do. That's what it's called. It's called crazy making, done by narcissists. So then they use their mechanisms of state of care as though you're delusional when you're absolutely spot on about their characters, all spent in your time, energy, and resources to mask their hijacking of your reality as though to paint the whole truth as sheer madness, when it's not. It's clearly manipulation, and I'm not delusional. I'm not crazy or any of that. I'm aware now, protective of my body and mind, with very necessary reason to be protective of my energy, my body and mind and time and love. It's exactly all of the areas of my life that they've been exploiting all along to go to work on me as though I'm their property. And I'm not your property. Nobody is anybody else's property. If you belong to anybody, you belong to the Lord. I don't deserve to be preemptively destroyed like that, and nobody does. So what I'm saying isn't speculation, and certainly isn't a fabricated story. It's what's happened, year in and year out, job after job, career move after career move, and even in my schooling, and all throughout my relationships in and relationships out, all to perform, designed to hurt me, and even utilizing the hurt that they gave me, covertly poisoning me, psychologically damaging me, and utilizing places where I had lost my own grandpa and lost my own grandma to come and attack me further. They've been using complete terrorist moves all over my life to continue the very poisoning of me and psychologically work to destroy me and desert me. And that's how their consciences are playing out. It's literally how consciences do play out in the general through this type of crime. And the same to similar patterns on repeat, year in, year out. Each one to block me from rising by love bombing or gaining your trust in yet another proxy made relationship, or just in their own, and then flipping without any reason for it. All to drain your energy that much more from the assault of them poisoning up my person, to level the true me clean out of myself, create that duplicity without your awareness of it because of the poisoning, and then they just go to work on the psychological warfare at the same time to ensure you're feeling like you're going batty when you're not. They are thoroughly working on your life. They want you to stop from living freely, and they'll stop you at any opportunity that they can because that is what makes them the worst people, to being those opportunistic pricks. They don't want you to become a man of your own accord, so they know with their meticulous craft that you won't even know what peace feels like, and it's no coincidence. It's structured. It's strategically by their design, and it works well. So that's why these narcissists do it. They work to elevate you, but it's not to actually allow you to glow up or shine up. Rather, it's a systematic order in order to get you into confusion and to get you to doubt yourself. While you're being actively attacked, it's gaslighting your reality, and it's on those levels that they actively, by proxy or otherwise, attack you with areas to touch up on your life the whole way, the entire existence of you. They aren't just trying to steal from you your time, energy, or resources, but they're seeking to replace you with the whole proxy, where after the calculated death were to take place, in any fashion that they can get it, then they get to play out your life as well. It's a spirit cooking or a soul cooking, along with the very calculated destiny swap, because they want to literally make it like you're going unconscious, dying from a very gruesome way of poisoning you to death while walking away smiling at you, because they are walking away with parts of your life. Like parts of your life being someone that you loved in their arms, someone that you thought you could trust in their arms, and then even trying to walk away with things like your family and noticing that you're dying from them doing it to you. And this was exactly the proxy relationship that Jesse Lee was and is in my life. This is also very demonic and a demonic possession that it'll literally drive you crazy if you allow it to. Piece by piece, they steal your identity, character assassinate you, steal away your worth, or stall you up in any opportunity that they can, psychologically tormenting you all the while, and then ruining your credibility and your truest nature to the way that you would suggest to yourself that it is. But it's good luck to anyone that believes you, basically, is what they think, because you're going to be extremely hard pressed and in a place that it's going to be hard to articulate your own words, even use the vocabulary that you have, or stutter around it to articulate it. See, they'll say, see, look at him. So, yes, they're meant to try and drive you crazy, as if you were just meant to be driven crazy. While all that they did to you, you were supposed to be so drawn up that you couldn't even barely recognize who you used to be, or rather, who you felt like within yourself that you could become. So, of course, people should know that I'm only speaking out because I have to. They aren't allowing me into even a fraction within another fraction of my own organic or regular reality of me. But see, this isn't just my story. It's the story of any person who never got heard. It's me speaking out for all of the voices who have already been deceased like this. The voice of the voiceless. Because of a very calculated murder with real life agents running around the earth scot fucking free. It's the story of all of those others who had a real story, who never got believed because they couldn't articulate it or they couldn't get help before their lives were taken from them. This is the story of those others who are trying to testify to something as well that's gone on in their lives. A calculated poisoning, who were also murdered for trying to get heard, for trying to get help, for trying to live. So it's for those poisoned victims of sedation who have been literally or spiritually poisoned in their own lives, just trying to be allowed to a little fraction of their lives left to live and be able to be allowed to live it. It's just that this crime is so heathen. It's so dark. And it is so sad that these sadists have to use these toxic chemicals and poisons to administer as well to the very real damage that happens to the victim, and it happens to the brain. As they become sedated, unable to think clearly, unable to articulate their thoughts, they even get mocked for stuttering, trying to speak through it, like I was in my early childhood, like I was in other areas of my life, like I was when I was with Emily and she could suggest to me, use your words. Why can't you use your words? Of course you're not able to use your words. You're having a hard time getting anything of what's happening to you out. So a person's trust gets fractured. Their souls get diced up like their souls on a chopping block. And the worst part is that you go out of your way looking for a true love and an honorable help and a support system, while the system that you run to look for help denies you discovery or flat out ignores it. you get denied that after 43 years you have no evidence, even though it's a crime to be recognized of all of your life. They deny you recognition and any part of the heaviest type of assassination that one could experience, in my opinion. It's the very worst and sickest crime because bombs would hurt a whole lot less. Bullets would hurt a whole lot less. So it's much like they have created and built a system for people to never reach the truth until it's too late. And that's just when you'll be scrubbed off of the face of the earth. Just finally reaching discovery of this lifetime of crime happening to you all over the place. That crime against your humanity, reaching for years for answers. And just when you figure it all out, that's exactly where they amplify the covert warfare to take you out. That is what makes it a very eerie crime, and a very cold and deliberate one, because the people who perform it don't appear to be criminals. No, they appear as helpers, concerned friends, and even family, as though they are the good people who would never do such a thing. Manipulating the public, their communities, and yes, even their own families, their own children. But they aren't good people. They are liars with clean faces, able to hide it well, until they can't hide it any longer, which when it comes out, and it starts to show overtly, their covert warfare is over, and it's turned into an overt one where they don't even care who notices what, where, or how. It's just how cold they work to deceive people. And the professions of these child protective services and the alike are all breeding grounds for these type of predators as well. So while they abuse their victims, they as well can take on their professional titles. They perform a kindness that likes to hide behind cruelty and masks their corruption to perform as the, quote, good ones, while lying convincingly as such to the targets, crying out for help, getting ignored left and right. You're writing reports, and often these people lose themselves after being predetermined in that fashion. And yes, people do end up being gaslighted so badly that they end up taking their own lives. So after they determine you to be the unstable one, all their performance is to erode its victim and to make it seem as though they're just unstable on their own, where in reality and in truth, they would be happy. These people could be chipper. These people could be joyful and even very caring individuals. And they would be better inside of the positions that they are performing within. But they aren't being allowed to even escape the covert abusers' plans. You see, so these perpetrators can call themselves righteous. They can even take on the righteous role of a righteous act. But the real ones out here can see clear through it. It's not just about a narcissism, but a demonic possession, and something that truly lives really sick inside of those who need to control others this badly to somehow feel good about themselves. As I told Jesse Lee himself, you know, the sad part is, I said, you could be a good dude. You could be a great friend. And this is how you are now? This is how you're showing me you've decided to move all the fuck over my life, G? That's some real wicked shit inside of your life, dude. When you have to perform all of this evil over my life, not allowing me to my own light, and then walk as though you're a good man. You're no good man, by any stretch of the imagination. I've been telling you to leave me alone for months on end. And yeah, ever since I was 17, I didn't even want to be around you no more. You're a heartless bastard to do what you've done to me. Knowing me, collecting data on me, hacking me, knowing far well that all that time that I was hurting so badly, and all that time that you could have done one thing right for me, You used my hurt to continuously create more of it, more pain. So I said, I see you for exactly who you are. And that's just a sad, sad little man. You're just as bad as my own father. And you all are very, very sad and sadistic men. It's just sad. It's a sad use of your own bodies, made to be in the image of God as lovers of a true kind of friend, an honorable type. And this is what you do with all of that? All of that human potential, when the human body was not designed for all of this evil. It was designed for love, for healing, for true connection, and for faith. It's stripping all that a person can do with what they've done to me to target me in these ways. You feel immobilized. You feel frozen, unable to move, unable to work, unable to get to love, unable to get to breathe, down to the cellular level within your body even, to then just be stripped of your best faith, your best options for true connections. And it breaks a person's psyche down so bad, and is this very thing that these people love, their little narcissistic crime spree to replace all of that love, all of that true honorable type, to have it be to ruin every option you have of anything honorable. Oh, good for you. Good for you, cowardice people. So that exposure is coming one way or another, because no crime can remain hidden forever, and even the ones that might, I'm sure God's got a mighty place for you all in heaven who are being the victims on the other side of this crime. So I speak out because I'm finally here. I'm finally able. I'm finally able to piece it all together, because they tried to erase me, a lifespan of me. They tried to ghostwrite my whole life while leaving me in a poisoned up state of mind and body. They almost took my life away many times from me, where I would have been taking true good care of me and true good care of my friends and my family. But they didn't care for any of that. They took the true me away from birth to the grave. It's like you're left fighting to even reason, to figure out what's been happening to you, and then they work to sabotage you so completely, like taking a man's whole life away from them, from the time that you were first born to the time that you die. You keep trying to figure it out all over your life. What's happening to me? What's happening to me, you'd say, because you know it and you feel it down to your bone that something's happening to you. But every door that's open to you just leads you in with their intent to have you crashing into another wall. And so this topic is very important out here, because some people never figure it out or find the truth at all before they get poisoned to death or gaslighted so bad in this way in their reality that they end up taking their own lives. These pieces of shit. So they take around every turn and turn around that you try to make while you're growing up, and your brain is in just developing stages. You need those connections to be made solid. So you keep trying to find out what's missing. Why can't I figure this out? I was in places I couldn't even figure out my name, my own name. Not even just why I was there, but what my name was, why I was there. I mean, I knew the name. I just couldn't utilize it, as though my my mind couldn't wrap around the reason of it, because of a very cold and calculated poisoning that wouldn't have allowed me to even try and half articulate it at that young of an age. So you become very depressed because you need your mind's ability to expand, but you can't only not expand it at that age any further than it's already being expanded, but you become so depressed because you're just being so oppressed, and you feel it for it being externally something happening to you. You just can't figure it out. And even where you had little slight memories and variations of just wanting to get away from the evil bastards that would do this to you, to basically cuckold your whole entire life against you, they just keep it all hidden when they know verbatim that you're hurt. But they take that hurt to only use that pain to hurt you worse. So yeah, the body wasn't built for this. It's a whole crime that starts at birth and ends at the grave. A theft so deep that it pulls a person right out of their own life. And you spend your days reaching for discovery, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. But it's like chasing a shadow that keeps slipping away. And some people never make it. Some people never make it out alive. Some people die just searching for themselves, unable to find their own truest selves, because their truest self isn't a poisoned up victim. Their truest self isn't a psychologically damaged person, because the human body, the human heart, and the human spirit, they were never designed for that type of pain. They were designed and built for love. They were designed and built for truth. We were built to feel peace when we do things right, and to feel conviction when we do things wrong. So, for every sinner out there, be convicted to go the right way. Build that peace. Because this world has twisted that design, and it teaches people to numb what should absolutely hurt, to enjoy what should actually shame them, and to laugh at what's sacred. And when someone still feels what's real, and when someone is crying out for that justice or for that faith in that system tells them that they're broken, and then tells them to stop believing, to stop trusting, to stop hoping. So that's the trick of the devil. It doesn't just attack your body, it attacks your very meaning in life, your purpose. It tries to make you forget why you were made in the first place. To love. To love and be loved in return. So reach out for that help and help us turn back. Reach out for that faith. They can call it foolishness all they want to. But if you're reaching out for justice, and that justice system is denying you even the laws that they have written, how well do they stand on their own laws? Just to bury you in paperwork and silences, the same way that all of these narcissists have all over your life. The system denies both that faith and justice. Because to give back would mean admitting to some of this truth and taking accountability, as the system denies having any placement to do any wrong whatsoever. It would mean saying that evil really does exist, that corruption really does wear a friendly mask, and that people who are supposed to protect us have learned how to pretend so well instead. So the innocent gets erased. Not always with weapons, but with a very calculated neglect, with disbelief, with a heavy bureaucracy, and with a smile that says, we're doing all we can. When really, you're gonna lie and act like you're doing anything at all. So our bodies remember, our souls remember. They break under the weight of lies that were never meant to be carried within our bodies. Because this flesh, this breath, this heartbeat, they were all crafted to hold light, not darkness. They were made for love, not to deceive. That's why it hurts so bad. When it's family, when it's your own dad, when it's your own brother, when it's your own friend, or worse yet, when it's your own proxy made lover, as someone that's designed for you to be able to trust. That's what it feels like. What's dying inside when you're just really trying to come out in the world to be alive. Because nobody's soul, Nobody's person should be able to live long and prosperous in a world that they're continuously creating this type of evil, calling evil good, and the good evil. So I hope that we turn this into a rebuilding point to raise up out of this corruption and to take what's really meaningful out here to human hearts, minds, spirits, and souls. Because you were all designed for way more beauty in your life than this world has capacity to hold. Thank you for being here. I'm the only Matthew Murden as One Savvy Ninja on YouTube with the black icon that's Heartworks. They can go ahead and make their campaigns and their ritualistic abuse, and if you want to be one of their 17 supporters, all of a whole bunch of cucks that are literally trying to cuckold my life, go right on ahead. But if you want to be a real one, support my efforts, subscribe, like, and share this work with others. Please leave a comment in the comment section and let me know how we can move inside of a world to change the direction of all of that is evil happening in the world today. Please leave a long comment. I would be glad to hear it and read it, and maybe even create a mission with you yourself. Thank you for your love and support. It means a lot to me. God bless. Have a good one.